Most people think power comes from what you add: more money, more status, more recognition. But real power often comes from what you remove. The habits, the distractions, the behaviors that quietly weaken you every day. The truth is, you don't need to announce your growth. In fact, the strongest transformation happens when no one sees it coming. The first thing you quietly eliminate is the need for constant validation. If your confidence depends on likes, praise, or approval, then it's not real confidence, it's borrowed. And borrowed confidence disappears the moment people stop clapping. When you stop needing validation, you become harder to control. You move based on your own standards, not other people's opinions. You also eliminate the habit of over-explaining yourself. Not everyone deserves a full explanation of your decisions. The more you explain, the more you invite judgment, debate, and unnecessary opinions. Powerful people are clear, but they are not defensive. They say what needs to be said, and then they move on. Another thing you remove is emotional impulsiveness. Reacting instantly to everything, messages, comments, situations, makes you predictable. And predictability is weakness. When you slow down your reactions, you create space to think. That space is where control lives. You don't let your emotions decide your actions, you let your awareness guide them. You eliminate the need to always be right. This one holds a lot of people back. They argue, defend, and protect their ego instead of learning. But when you let go of that need, you become more adaptable. You listen more, you understand more, and you grow faster. Power is not in being right, it's in getting better. You quietly distance yourself from unnecessary noise. Gossip, drama, constant negativity, it drains your focus. Most people are surrounded by it, and don't even realize how much it affects their thinking. When you step away from that environment, your mind becomes clearer. And clarity is a form of power most people never develop. You eliminate the habit of saying yes to everything. Saying yes might make you feel useful or accepted, but it also spreads your energy thin. Powerful people are selective. They understand that every yes is a commitment, and every commitment has a cost. You start choosing carefully, and that choice protects your time and energy. You remove the fear of being alone. A lot of people stay in the wrong environments, the wrong relationships, and the wrong situations simply because they're afraid of being by themselves. But when you become comfortable alone, you stop settling. You make decisions based on what's right, not what's comfortable. You eliminate procrastination disguised as preparation. Planning is important, but overplanning can become an excuse to delay action. You keep researching, thinking, waiting for the perfect moment. But the truth is, the perfect moment rarely comes. Powerful people act, adjust, and improve as they go. You also remove the habit of comparing yourself to others. Comparison is a distraction. It shifts your focus from your own path to someone else's. And once you lose focus, you lose momentum. When you stop comparing, you start building. Quietly, steadily, without pressure. You eliminate the need to respond to everything. Not every comment deserves a reply. Not every situation requires your involvement. Sometimes, the most powerful move is no response at all. Silence can communicate more than words, especially when people expect a reaction from you. You remove weak routines. Your daily habits shape your results more than your intentions ever will. If your routines are inconsistent, your results will be too. You start tightening your schedule, not in a rigid way, but in a focused way. You build habits that support your growth instead of slowing it down. You eliminate excuses. This one is uncomfortable, but necessary. It's easy to blame circumstances, timing, or other people. But every excuse keeps you in the same place. When you take full responsibility, even for things that aren't entirely your fault, you gain control. And control is where power begins. You also remove the need to share everything. Not every goal needs to be announced. Not every move needs to be posted. The more you talk about your plans, the less you focus on executing them. You start moving in silence. You let results speak, not intentions. You eliminate shallow thinking. Instead of reacting to surface-level information, you go deeper. You ask why. You analyze patterns. You think beyond what's obvious. This kind of thinking separates you from the majority, because most people never go past the surface. You remove toxic patience. Patience is powerful, but only when it's paired with action. Waiting without doing anything is not patience, it's avoidance. You learn to be patient with results, but aggressive with effort. That balance keeps you moving forward. You eliminate distractions that don't align with your future. Entertainment, endless scrolling, random conversations, they might feel harmless, but they consume your time. And time is the one resource you can't get back. You start protecting it like it matters, because it does. You remove the need to prove yourself. When you're constantly trying to prove your worth, you're giving others control over how you feel about yourself. But when you know your value, you don't need to broadcast it. You operate from confidence, not insecurity. And finally, you eliminate the idea that growth has to be loud. Real growth is quiet. It happens in your habits, your mindset, your discipline. People might not notice it at first, but over time, they feel the difference. And by then, you're already ahead. If you're serious about becoming more focused, more disciplined, and more powerful without the noise, then this is where you stay. Subscribe to this channel for more content that sharpens your thinking and helps you move differently from the crowd. Stay quiet. Stay focused. Stay powerful. You quietly eliminate the habit of chasing approval from people who are not where you want to be. This is subtle but powerful. If someone doesn't live the kind of life you respect, their opinion should not control your decisions. Yet most people still adjust their behavior just to fit in. When you break that pattern, you start making decisions based on direction, not pressure. You remove the need to constantly defend your choices. Not everyone will understand your path, and that's fine. Explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you is a waste of energy. You stay grounded in your decisions and let time prove your point. You eliminate the habit of multitasking your focus away. Doing too many things at once doesn't make you productive, it makes you average at everything. When you focus on one task at a time, your thinking becomes sharper and your output becomes stronger. Depth always beats scattered effort. You quietly stop entertaining negative self-talk. The way you speak to yourself shapes your actions more than anything else. If your inner voice is always doubting, criticizing, or limiting you, your behavior will reflect that. You don't ignore your weaknesses, but you don't attack yourself either. You correct, you adjust, and you keep moving. You remove the urge to always be understood. This is uncomfortable, but necessary. Sometimes people won't get you, your decisions, or your silence. And trying to make everyone understand you will only dilute your focus. You become okay with being misunderstood, as long as you are clear with yourself. You eliminate the habit of seeking comfort in distractions when things get difficult. When pressure builds, most people escape, into their phones, into entertainment, into avoidance. But you learn to stay with the discomfort. You face the task, the problem, the challenge. That's how resilience is built. You quietly develop the ability to walk away. From arguments that go nowhere. From situations that drain you. From opportunities that don't align. Walking away is not weakness, it's awareness. It shows you know what deserves your energy and what doesn't. You remove the habit of overcommitting. Saying yes too often creates hidden stress. You start recognizing your limits and respecting them. When you commit, you follow through. When you can't, you decline. That honesty keeps your life structured and your mind clear. You eliminate the need for constant stimulation. Music, notifications, background noise. Most people can't sit in silence anymore. But when you train yourself to be comfortable without constant input, your mind becomes stronger. You think more clearly, you focus longer, and you become less dependent on external triggers. You quietly stop measuring your worth by your current situation. Where you are right now is not your final position, it's just your current phase. When you detach your identity from your circumstances, you stop limiting yourself. You start acting based on where you're going, not where you are. You remove the habit of reacting to urgency that isn't real. Not everything that feels urgent actually is. People rush, panic, and make poor decisions because they don't pause to evaluate. You slow down, assess, and respond based on importance, not pressure. You eliminate the habit of repeating mistakes without reflection. Making mistakes is normal. Repeating them without learning is a problem. After every setback, you take a moment to understand what went wrong. That reflection turns failure into progress. You quietly build boundaries without announcing them. You don't need to explain every limit you set. You show it through your actions, what you accept, what you ignore, what you walk away from. Over time, people adjust to how you carry yourself. You remove the illusion that you have unlimited time. This is where urgency becomes useful. When you realize your time is limited, your decisions become sharper. You stop wasting hours on things that don't matter. You start investing your time like it's valuable, because it is. You eliminate the habit of waiting until you feel ready. Readiness is often a feeling, not a fact. If you keep waiting for it, you'll stay stuck. You start before you feel ready, and you grow into it. That's how real progress happens. You quietly strengthen your discipline in private. No announcements. No showing off. Just consistent effort behind the scenes. This builds a level of confidence that doesn't need validation, because you know the work you've put in. You remove the need to compete with everyone. Competition can be useful, but constant comparison drains your focus. You start competing with your previous self, your habits, your mindset, your results. That's a competition you can actually control. You eliminate emotional dependency on outcomes. You still care about results, but you don't let them control your state of mind. Whether things go well or not, you stay stable. That stability allows you to think clearly and adjust quickly. And over time, all of this builds something most people can't fake: presence. You walk into a room and you're calm, observant, controlled. You don't need to speak loudly or prove anything. People can feel it. That quiet confidence is what real power looks like. If you've made it this far, then you already understand something most people don't. Growth is less about adding and more about removing. If you want more content like this, content that actually sharpens your mindset and separates you from the crowd, subscribe to this channel. Move in silence. Build in private. And let your results make the noise. You quietly eliminate the habit of taking things personally. Most of what people say or do has more to do with them than it does with you. Their mood, their insecurity, their perspective, it all shapes their behavior. When you stop internalizing everything, you free up mental space. You stop carrying unnecessary weight, and that makes your thinking sharper and your actions cleaner. You also remove the urge to rush results. In a world built on speed, patience looks like weakness, but it's not. Rushing leads to mistakes, poor decisions, and burnout. When you slow down your expectations but stay consistent with your effort, you build something solid. Power grows in consistency, not urgency. You eliminate the habit of filling every silence. Silence makes people uncomfortable, so they rush to speak, explain, or react. But silence is where awareness lives. When you allow silence, you observe more, think deeper, and respond better. You don't speak just to avoid discomfort, you speak with intention. You quietly distance yourself from people who drain your energy. Not everyone is meant to go with you to the next level. Some people are attached to your old habits, your old mindset, your old limits. And if you stay around them too long, you start shrinking to fit their expectations. You don't need conflict, you just need distance. You eliminate the habit of starting without finishing. A lot of people begin things with excitement, but they rarely follow through. That pattern builds inconsistency and weakens self-trust. When you train yourself to finish what you start, even when it's uncomfortable, you build a different kind of confidence, the kind that comes from discipline. You remove the need for instant gratification. Everything today is designed to give you quick rewards: scrolling, entertainment, distractions. But those quick rewards train your mind to avoid effort. When you delay gratification, you strengthen your focus. You become someone who can work through discomfort, and that alone separates you from most people. You eliminate the habit of reacting to criticism without thinking. Not all criticism is useless, and not all of it is valuable. The key is knowing the difference. Instead of reacting emotionally, you step back and ask, Is there something here I can use? If yes, you take it. If not, you leave it. You stay in control either way. You quietly remove the pressure to be everywhere and do everything. Focus requires sacrifice. You can't build something meaningful if your attention is scattered across too many things. When you narrow your focus, your results become stronger. You stop chasing everything and start building something. You eliminate the mindset of waiting for permission. A lot of people hesitate because they're waiting for approval, someone to tell them they're ready, someone to validate their decision. But that moment rarely comes. You learn to trust your judgment and move. Not recklessly, but confidently. You remove the habit of ignoring small improvements. Big results are built on small, consistent actions. Most people overlook this because they want quick, visible progress. But you start paying attention to the small wins, the discipline, the consistency, the effort. That's what compounds over time. You eliminate emotional attachment to distractions. It's not just about removing distractions, it's about not feeling like you're missing out when you do. When you detach from that feeling, it becomes easier to stay focused. You're not sacrificing, you're choosing something better. You quietly develop the habit of thinking before speaking. Words can build or destroy, open doors or close them. When you slow down and choose your words carefully, you communicate with precision. People start to take you more seriously, because you're not speaking just to speak, you're speaking with purpose. You remove the habit of dwelling on the past. Reflection is useful, but dwelling is not. You can't move forward if your mind is constantly replaying what already happened. You take the lesson, leave the rest, and keep going. That ability to move on quickly is a form of strength. You eliminate the need to always feel comfortable. Growth is uncomfortable by nature. If you avoid discomfort, you avoid growth. When you accept that discomfort is part of the process, you stop resisting it. You move through it instead of running from it. You quietly build self-trust. This is one of the most important shifts. When you consistently do what you say you'll do, even in small things, you start trusting yourself more. And once you trust yourself, your decisions become stronger, your actions become clearer, and your confidence becomes real. You remove the illusion that success is loud and visible. Most of the work happens in private, when no one is watching, when no one is clapping. That's where discipline is built. That's where focus is strengthened. You stop chasing attention and start building substance. You eliminate hesitation when it's time to act. Overthinking can slow you down just as much as impulsiveness. You learn the difference between thinking and stalling. When you have enough information, you move. You adjust along the way, but you don't stay stuck. And eventually, you realize something most people never do. Power is not about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself. Your thoughts, your actions, your habits, your focus. When you master that, everything else starts to fall into place. If this mindset speaks to you, if you're ready to move differently, think clearly, and build real strength without announcing it, then stay here. Subscribe to this channel for more content that helps you grow in silence and win in the long run. Keep your moves quiet. Let your results speak.